Oh, are they willing to risk a ruling against them on this public policy crapola, or even the statute of limitations issue? Since you had really no effective way of knowing, well, let me back that up. How would you have been able to know that there was a towing Bill of Rights?
Well, I found it, and that's the one I got them to apply it through the city agency that does enforce that. But it took them over a year to get the towing company into court and fine them for that infraction. And at that date, that's my argument, I guess. That's when I knew for sure that the violation was taking place.
Well, your argument should be that time period in which this was being adjudicated should toll the statute of limitations on your claim.
Okay.
Because if they ruled completely in the towing company's favor, then you would have had no claim.
Right.
So you had to wait to bring your claim until the city or whoever it was rendered their ruling.
Okay.
Not knowing it's not a good argument, but here you knew, but it was not ripe for a claim until it was adjudicated that they acted wrongfully. And that should start the statute of limitations clock tolling, and not when the actual infraction occurred.
Okay. I'll look into that. I'm sure there's a bunch of case law on that one as well. I'll look into that.
Good. Okay. Thank you. Do you have anything else, Chris?
No, it's great to talk to you guys. Thank you so much. This is fun, Randy. It's a lot of work, but this is fun.
That's what people need to get.
Yes.
Once you get over the doorstep and get past that front end part where they appear to be beating you up, then everything changes.
I can almost hear them doing the chicken dance across the phone. I don't know if they're doing it, but I can almost hear them doing it. Thank you guys so much. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Chris. Now we're going to go to what looks like a first-time caller. If you are from the 731 area code, 731, that's Tennessee. Do we have someone from Tennessee?
Well, I don't know. Sorry?
I am from Tennessee.
But the real question is, are you a hillbilly from West Tennessee?
I am from West Tennessee.
I'm from a little place called Palmersville, just north of Dresden.
Okay.
You got to be in that neighborhood somewhere.
I'm originally from Parsons, Tennessee. You've heard of that?
If you're originally from the 731 area code, we're kin.
Yeah.
In that area code, before you can get married, you have to get a DNA test.
Yep, I can confirm.
Okay, what do you have for us today?
All right, so I actually have quite a few things I'm about to do. I'm about to send a bunch of different affidavits in, different cases.
Okay, wait, hold on. I forgot to do something. Give us a first name, and now we know the state, so we can get you in our database.
Austin.
Just whatever you want us to call you.
Austin, and is this about, you're in Tennessee, or that's where your phone was from?
I'm actually in Florida.
Is this a Florida situation we're dealing with here?
It is.
Okay.
So we're going to
Austin in Florida.
Good. Yeah. Okay.
So you got a bunch of claims, bunch of affidavits.
Yeah. Like I have quite a few things going on. We have other state, federal issues, but right now I just wanted to call about this state of Florida case, where the cause of action is honestly pretty endless, but there is an ongoing case that my friend that was with me is partaking in, right? So we're both kind of sitting in these affidavits, and I just have really basic questions. They may be very newbie questions, but when I'm trying to send them to the respondent, I'm getting every officer involved, and I have the judge, I have the actual court, and so what starts to kind of give me hiccups is, do I list these municipal corporations as respondent in addition to the individuals?
Randy,
Did that make sense?
you got some input about that? Yeah, I understood your question to be whether or not you should list municipal corporations as respondents, but I'm really not clear myself yet. And I don't know, Randy, maybe you already got this, but I'm not clear on. Yes.
Did you mute my mic when I wasn't looking?
I wish I could. If I had that button, that'd be pretty fun.
Hey.
Right in the middle of your word or something, that would be kind of cool.
Yeah, okay. When I go after public officials, I always want to be able to claim that they were acting outside of scope. Acting outside of scope puts them outside of their immunity, qualified or otherwise. You want to accuse them of something like official misconduct or official oppression. Accuse them of doing something that amounts to a crime, because crimes are not within scope. What keeps you in court is not what you can prove up, but the nature of the claim that you make. So if you claim this policeman, while acting in the capacity of a peace officer, did this thing and did that thing and did the other, the court's going to throw your case out, because they're going to say that the officer is protected by official immunity. But if you claim that this officer acted outside the scope of his authority and in the process committed a criminal act, that is not within scope. And you specifically argue that his action was not within the scope of his authority. What the court is going to do is look at it from the 12b6 perspective. Is the plaintiff stating a claim for which recovery can be had? Now, you can claim that the policeman knocked you down, beat you up, spit in your face, whatever you want to. If you claim he did that while acting, like if you say the officer pulled me over, he was a certified peace officer and he turned his lights on me and pulled me over and he did all these rotten things, you have claimed that he was acting within the scope of his authority, and the judge will throw it out immediately. So what your claim is that while he may have been covered by this official immunity in his original stop, at one point he committed an act that had the effect of denying you in the due course of the laws of the state of Florida. And at that point, he became a criminal trespasser ab initio, from the beginning. And all his acts were defeated. There's case law that I'm quoting. I just don't know exactly where the case law is for the moment. But you claim that he committed a criminal act and acted outside the scope of his authority. We have a primary case in Texas on that. A jailer is sent to the El Paso City Jail to pick up this 19-year-old girl and take her to the El Paso County Jail. And he decides to have a little recreation on the way and rapes her. And she sued, and he claimed qualified immunity. And the judge was not amused by that and made it clear that rape is not within scope.
Right.
Committing crimes against you is not within scope. So you have to make that claim in your filing. Now, whether you can prove up outside of scope or not, that's something for the trial court, not something for a 12b6. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah. So them acting out of the scope or their purview allows me to list them individually as respondents. And should I still list the municipal entities, right? Like Key West Police Store.
I generally don't want to, because the municipal entity will use that as an excuse to indemnify the officer, even if the officer's acting outside of scope. And then I wind up having to argue that the municipality, by indemnifying this guy, is misappropriating public funds, and it gets into an extra argument. About to go to our sponsors. I'll pick this up on the other side there. If you go after the officer himself, the city's going to come in and try to indemnify him. And you're going to argue against it, and they'll wind up making you a better deal. Hang on, Randy Kelton, Brett Fountain. We'll be right back.
Would you like to make more definite progress in your walk with God? Bibles for America is offering a free study Bible and a set of free Christian books that can really help. The New Testament Recovery Version is one of the most comprehensive study Bibles available today. It's an accurate translation, and it contains thousands of footnotes that will help you to know God and to know the meaning of life. The free books are a 3-volume set called Basic Elements of the Christian Life. Chapter by chapter, Basic Elements of the Christian Life clearly presents God's plan of salvation, growing in Christ, and how to build up the church. To order your free New Testament Recovery Version and Basic Elements of the Christian Life, call Bibles for America toll-free at 888-551-0102. That's 888-551-0102. Or visit us online at bfa.org.
Live Free Speech Radio, LogosRadioNetwork.com.
The Bill of Rights contains the first 10 amendments of our Constitution. They guarantee the specific freedoms Americans should know and protect. Our liberty depends on it. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht, and I'll be right back with an unforgettable way to remember one of your constitutional rights.
Privacy is under attack. When you give up data about yourself, you'll never get it back again. And once your privacy is gone, you'll find your freedoms will start to vanish too. So protect your rights, say no to surveillance, and keep your information to yourself. Privacy, it's worth hanging on to. This public service announcement is brought to you by StartPage.com, the private search engine alternative to Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Start over with StartPage.
Imagine your mom and dad are getting ready for bed. They pull back the covers and find a third party there. He announces, "I'm with the military and I'm sleeping here tonight." That shocking image of a third party in my parents' bed reminds me what the Third Amendment was designed to prevent. It protects us from being forced to share our homes with soldiers, a common demand in the days of our founding fathers. Third party, Third Amendment, get it? So if you answer a knock at your door and guys in fatigues demand lodging, tell them to dust off their copy of the Bill of Rights and reread the Third Amendment. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht. More news and information at CatherineAlbrecht.com. The Bill of Rights contains the first 10 amendments of our Constitution. They guarantee the specific freedoms Americans should know and protect. Our liberty depends on it. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht, and I'll be right back with an unforgettable way to remember one of your constitutional rights.
Privacy is under attack. When you give up data about yourself, you'll never get it back again. And once your privacy is gone, you'll find your freedoms will start to vanish too. So protect your rights, say no to surveillance, and keep your information to yourself. Privacy, it's worth hanging on to. This public service announcement is brought to you by StartPage.com, the private search engine alternative to Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Start over with Start Page.
Imagine four eyes staring at you through binoculars, a magnifying glass, or a pair of X-ray goggles. That imagery reminds me that the Fourth Amendment guarantees Americans freedom from unreasonable search and seizure. Fourth Amendment, four eyes staring at you, get it? Unfortunately, the government is trampling our Fourth Amendment rights in the name of security. Case in point, TSA airport scanners that peer under your clothing. When government employees demand a peep at your privates without probable cause, I say it's time to sound the constitutional alarm bells. Join me in asking our representatives to dust off the Bill of Rights and use their googly eyes to take a gander at the Fourth. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht. More news and information at catherinealbrecht.com.
It's all according to the will of the Almighty. I read his book and he says he cares none for the unsightly. These warmongers come by that term rightly. I won't pay for the war with my body. Ain't gonna pay for the car with my money. I won't pay for the fun with my body. Their plans wicked and their logic shoddy. Ain't gonna pay for the oil with my body. I won't pay for the boys with my money. Ain't gonna pay for the kids with my body. Their whole agenda smells funny. I wanna fight in a war of my own. That one would be less accidental. I wanna pay for a war of my own. They live in glass houses.
Okay, we are back. Randy Kelton, Brett Fountain, Rule of Law Radio. On this Friday, the 21st day of January 2022. And we have some open slots on the call board. Our call-in number is 512-646-1984. Did I get that right, Brett?
Yeah, that was a good one.
Okay, I'm getting old here. I have to check. We had Ted and Danny on. They dropped off. If you guys are out there, give us a call. We'll get to everybody. Now we're going back to Austin. We're not going to Austin. We're going to Florida. But we're going to Austin in Florida. Did you know there was an Austin in Florida?
That's confusing.
Okay, Austin. Okay, what is the nature of the claim you have against these multiple entities?
Okay, so basically, conspiracy against rights, deprivation of rights under color of law, federally protected activities, damage to religious property, obstruction of persons in the free exercise of religious belief, false entries and reports of monies or securities, mail-threatening communications, securities of the states and private entities, fictitious obligations, firearms policy, unlawful detention, extortion by officers or employees of the United States, perjury generally, and statements or entries generally are the U.S. codes that I have in the claim. Right, and then the affidavit of facts breaks down. I mean, they very blatantly are in violation of each of these. From violation of the Fourth Amendment, right to restriction, then forcing, while handcuffed, forcing us to wear masks when we told them that we medically cannot. To then once taken in, we got solitary confinement exceeding durations of 35 hours. Forced to take a COVID test to be able to leave isolation. So the list of things is pretty long, and I'm just trying to make sure I send them to the right people. I have the individuals here, and I'm just pretty new to this, generally speaking.
The nice part about being the plaintiff is you have plenty of time to build your case. So if you have a lot of actors, you have time to build a case against each one of them, then stitch all those cases together, and you file your suit. And if you serve your party on a Monday, they will have exactly 21 days in which to answer. They have, and this is assuming a federal suit from the way you spoke. I'm assuming you're going to the Fed. Is that correct?
Well, I don't know, right? This is a state of Florida case. I just know that they're acting outside of U.S. code that would trump, from my understanding. I also do have.
Be careful. Okay, now you're treading kind of a difficult path here.
Okay.
What they're likely to do is, if you make any federal claims, they will immediately remove it to the federal court.
Okay.
So if you want a separate suit in the state and then another one in the Fed, then you have to be really careful in your pleading not to claim anything under a federal issue. Make all of your claims under state. I sued Wise County, Texas for $400 million. And they did lots of federal violations. But I didn't claim any of those federal violations. I only claimed state violations. I was very careful. You have parallel state and federal constitutional issues. So always make your claim in the state law or under state constitution, and instead of Fed, because the first time you hit Fed, they're going to snatch you out to the federal court. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but in my case, I want to sue them in the state, get them to make as many screw-ups as they can, and then use those screw-ups to drag them out to the Fed.
Okay.
You figure out how you want to do this, but be careful about state and federal, mixing up state and federal.
Okay, cool. Thank you for that. I do have a couple other things that are in federal court, First Amendment issues. So I guess that would be more hyperlogical to go the federal route, and then I should basically find the.
Wait! You're going to have one of those in the state as well.
Okay.
Yeah, every state's going to have essentially the same rights in their constitution as you have in the federal constitution.
Right, to find the correlated state law.
Exactly.
Okay, perfect.
That's if you want to stay in the state. If you don't mind them removing it to the Fed, that's okay. But in my case, I want to sue them in both places. I want to beat them up in the state and cost them a lot of money. And then win, lose, or draw, we're going to the Feds and doing this all over again.
They'll love you.
Perfect. I like it.
Hey, Austin, one thing, just a little point of clarification. I just got, Rose just reached out to me, and I'm thinking it might be good to just clarify, make sure that you're clear on an affidavit is not exactly the same thing as the document that will initiate your court case. You're clear on that already?
Yes, you have your notice of claim, and then you have your affidavit to support them, right?
Now, an affidavit in a civil action is merely a statement of facts.
Yeah.
It can be in a separate document, or generally, it's the first thing after your introduction. This is first you start out with who the party. First thing you always start out with is, this is what we are going to prove. Then you do jurisdiction, you do parties, and then you do a statement of facts. That's your affidavit. That is an art form. I always produce my statement of facts last. Or I'll do a statement of fact outline in the form of a timeline. This happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. This is just to get everything lined out in the right place. That's the first document I produce when I'm doing a suit, is you get your timeline. Get everything in place. Even things you don't think are important, put everything in there. That document, that timeline will be the basis for your building your entire suit. That won't ever go into the suit, but you'll build the suit using that as a basis. Once you've been through all of the things that happened in the order that they happened, because when we have these experiences, we talk about them to other people, we tend to get things out of place. The timeline gets everything sorted out. Then you go down the timeline and figure out all of the claims that you can make based on all of these things that happened. And you build yourself a novel. You tell the whole story of what happened. You want that in writing. Once you have the whole story and all of the things they did wrong in it, now you go to your claims. Which ones of these things they did wrong can amount to a claim? And you list out all of your claims. Now you look at it and say, okay, which one of these claims do I want to bring? How do I want my case to resonate before the jury? You got all kind of claims you can put in there that don't necessarily lead to where you're trying to take them. You know, I tell about this bailiff that drugged me down the stairs, shoved me out the door, and broke my elbow. I couldn't use that because it didn't help the case I was building. It was a distraction. So you look at all of those claims that will simply be a distraction and not add to your ultimate end result. And once you get those sorted out, now you go back to your statement of facts and you adjust your statement of facts so that a reasonable person of ordinary prudence, in reading these facts, after you've told him, this is what the plaintiff will prove, then you take them to the facts, and you want them to read the facts, and based on the facts you gave them, come to the conclusion that you're going to get them to try to come to when you get to your statement of claim or your argument in support, and then your causes of action. You want them to have already came to the conclusion that you're going to address when you get in your points and authorities. They won't necessarily agree with you, but they will be able to see how you got there. And it will make your arguments very coherent. They're always leading from one point to the next, and you don't trip up your reader. So they read this argument and they say, what the heck's that got to do with anything? Yeah, it's an argument, but it doesn't stitch things together. You want everything to just flow one from the other. Am I making sense here?
Yeah, makes perfect sense. So have it sequential effectively. Like
okay. What this will do is your timeline becomes your backbone. Then your story, you fill everything in, and then you take out all the stuff you don't need. And from that, you build your claims, and from the claims document, you build your statement of facts. Every piece of work you do adds to the next one sequentially, makes everything fit together. When you file your suit, they're going to file a motion to dismiss. You're going to file an opposition to the motion to dismiss, and that starts the documentation you'll use all the way through the rest of the case. I'll explain a little bit more about that when we come back on the other side. We'll be right back.
Are you being harassed by debt collectors with phone calls, letters, or even lawsuits? Stop debt collectors now with the Michael Maris Proven Method. Michael Maris has won 6 cases in federal court against debt collectors, and now you can win too. You'll get step-by-step instructions in plain English on how to win in court using federal civil rights statutes, what to do when contacted by phone, mail, or court summons, how to answer letters and phone calls, how to get debt collectors out of your credit report, how to turn the financial tables on them and make them pay you to go away. The Michael Maris Proven Method is the solution for how to stop debt collectors. Personal consultation is available as well. For more information, please visit ruleoflawradio.com and click on the blue Michael Maris banner or email michaelmaris@yahoo.com. That's ruleoflawradio.com or email michaelmirras@yahoo.com to learn how to stop debt collectors now.
I love logos. Without the shows on this network, I'd be almost as ignorant as my friends. I'm so addicted to the truth